Welcome to episode 139 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. As humans, we love to wear labels. We like to define ourselves and others. Labels help us sort people into categories that we think we understand, thereby making it possible to predict their behaviors. We try to make sense of the world because we think that will give us the edge when it comes to anticipating outcomes. This makes the world seem less chaotic. We can sort people into categories based on gender, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, and the like. I fully admit that I tend to sort people into where I believe they reside on the spectrum of spiritual awareness. That helps me better understand their motivations and potential behaviors. To me, this is much more reliable and important than any of the other ways that you would sort people. Plus, there are people who are at the lowest levels of spiritual awareness, at the highest levels of spiritual awareness, and all points in between in each of the groups that are customarily defined. A rich white female who is at a low level of spiritual awareness is every bit as dangerous as every other person who inhabits that level. In fact, she may be more dangerous because she has the money, power, and connections to do real and lasting damage in a way that an economically challenged person would not be able to do. One of the categories that I want to talk about today has to do with ideological definitions. Let's say we break people out into categories of either being progressives, centrists, or regressives. Let's start with the centrist and then work our way to the two ends of the spectrum. Centrists tend to believe that we know what is needed to be known and that things are pretty much good the way they are. They are not looking to make big changes. They just want to continue with the trajectory as it is now. If nothing ever changed from the way it is now, they would be happy. Progressives do not think that we have it all figured out. They want to stretch and grow and try new approaches to the existing problems that they see. They are hungry for new ideas and new solutions. They want to push the envelope. They embrace the discomfort that comes with change. Regressives, on the other hand, see the problems that surround us and are convinced that these problems are the result of us having moved too far from where we were in the past. They feel that the solution for these problems is to go back in time and apply the same rules and regulations that existed back in our ancestors' time. They feel that we know too much. We have come too far. They think the root of all evil can be found in the progress that we have already made. Everything in life is on a spectrum. There is no one right answer. If you think of it like a seesaw, one end of the spectrum would be all the way up in the air, the other end is firmly planted on the ground, and the centrists are that point in the middle where both people have their feet off the ground. None of these three positions is the superior one. All movement in life can be seen as those moments when you are up high, down low, or somewhere in the middle. The act of living is not found in the position. It is found in the movement and momentum. There is value in all three positions. The people in the middle are not given to change, though the world is changing around them constantly. You can't stay in the same spot forever. It just doesn't work that way. This process of human life is ever evolving, and we either act accordingly or we perish. Those on the ends of the spectrum the progressives and the regressives, are always taunting those in the middle to make a move. They insist that we either move forward or backward, but will not allow anyone the illusion that everything will stay the same. Life is always in movement, even when it seems like it is one step forward and two steps back. It is always expanding or contracting. It never remains static. Where the rub comes in is in both defining problems and accepting solutions. What seems like a problem to one group may not seem like a problem at all to the other group. Take some of the bigger issues of our time. Some believe that climate change is the most dangerous problem that is looming, while others think that there's no such thing. Some believe that a sitting president plotting a coup because he couldn't handle losing is a threat to our democracy. Others think that either it didn't happen or it isn't a big deal if it did. Some take COVID-19 seriously and modify their lives to reflect the danger of a virus that has killed over 6 million people worldwide and over 1 million Americans. Others think that the whole thing was made up and that vaccines and masks are for weak losers. Some are trying to undo the system of white supremacy that still plagues our world, while others either think it doesn't exist or that it should be a defining feature that our country is built around. Same with the patriarchy. Some work to smash it, while others either think it doesn't exist or that it is a legitimate system that is the answer to all that ails us. It will be near impossible to find a solution that is acceptable to those who either think that problems do not exist or those who think that what is being defined as a problem is actually an important feature that makes life here better. The solution to an extreme regressive would be to codify it and make it the law of the land. The solution to an extreme progressive would be to burn it to the ground and begin again. The solution to an extreme centrist would be to ask, are we sure we even have a problem? Obviously, our positions as members of an organized society are not locked in place. We may be progressive on some issues, centrist on others, and on some we may think that we need to go back to the good old days and do it the way Grandma and Grandpa did. We slide from one end of that scale to the other constantly. It is easy to get drawn into either an imaginary nirvana or the nostalgic warmth of yesteryear, but neither will fit where we find ourselves right now. I think I lean more in the direction of the imaginary nirvana because it is clear that the past was constructed in a way that only benefited a select group of people. It put all the power and control in the hands of white men. I want to live in the world where we utilize the best of everyone's abilities, no matter who they happen to be. I'm drawn to listening to those whose ideas are steeped in honesty, integrity, empathy, and transparency. I'm more interested in the level of spiritual awareness that someone has achieved than I am in how much clout they have been granted in the culture as it is currently defined. We have so many choices to make moving forward. We will have to elect people to address the challenges ahead, and we need to have some sort of criteria when doing so. We will never have the choice of someone who agrees with each and every one of our own personal beliefs, but we must ensure that the people elected are people of higher levels of spiritual awareness. How do we do that? We look at what they say and do. Are their solutions based in the future, or are they based in the past? Are their solutions lacking in empathy, or are they understanding those who they will lead? Do they invite accountability, or work to silence anyone who disagrees with them? Do they have the ability to course correct once they realize and accept that they were wrong? Do they have the capacity to grow in the face of newly emerging information? We have the responsibility as good citizens to always look at the challenges, both personal and communal, with an open mind and the ability to be wrong. And above all, we need to maintain a commitment to growth. We need to always remember that we do not have it all figured out. No one has it all figured out. But the best we can do is to stay open to knowing more, to understanding more. Then we must use that wisdom that we gain to make this a better place than it is right now. Thanks for returning for another week of Rebirth Revolution. I truly appreciate the time you give to listening to this podcast. Rebirth Revolution can be found on all the podcast apps, the music apps, on Audible, and full episodes can be found on our YouTube and Facebook pages, along with on rebirthrevolution.com. Please rate, subscribe, download, and share whenever possible. Until next week, observe where you are on the spectrum for issues that arise. See if there are any areas that are ripe for growth. Stick with your COVID precautions and enjoy some sunshine. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and open to new information.